could turn it up a little higher. That works. Definitely. I can hear that shit. Actually, I have another plan. That old dumpster file. I asked him last time if I could do it, but I don't even know if he'll be awake right now. So I don't want to ask him because I don't want to like wake him up. I don't think he'll copyright strike me though. I think I'll be okay. I wouldn't anyway. I mean, wait, there we go. Here. Oh, wait, let's see if this works.
Hey, I'm FTFE and welcome back to the channel that does to stupidity what not taking hydroxychloroquine will do for the coronavirus. Trump's a fucking idiot. So yeah, we've got a debate tonight with, well, when I say debate, I'm doing it in, these. With right hand, but he's having issues connecting to Zoom of all things. So I may have to bring him in through Discord. Give me 1 second to sort that out. With me, as always, is my partner in crime, the Cream Skeptic, Team Skeptic. How you doing, bud?
Joe, what up? I do want to put out this notice about hydroxychloroquine. Uh, as with everything, and this includes chicken skin, this includes meat tubes, this includes dirt outside, bark on trees. Taking that as a preventative for COVID-19.
pausing this to see if it'll catch up. Actually, thinking about seeing what it looks like if I do that.
-19 will work until it doesn't. Once it doesn't work, then it doesn't work. You know, like
there we go. Hello, can you hear me?
is not
Oh,
going
yeah, he's
to have
connected.
you.
All right.
Hydroxychloroquine
Just
is
wait
not
there
going
for
to
1
keep you
minute.
from getting.
Sorry, team, you got interrupted. Finish what you're saying, team.
I forgot, man. That's okay. Go ahead, Dan.
Right, okay, let me just get rid of this. All right, so yeah, we're going to have a debate tonight. There's a strict format, and Wrong the Foot has been told about the format. 10 minutes to present. Oh God, I'll mute you whilst we're waiting because you're making a lot of unnecessary noise.
Yeah, you should probably mute people when they come in until you're ready to bring them in, so that way
Why
you
is
can
the
make sure
mute
their
button not
audio
working,
is not
Dan?
all jacked up.
Should be muting his audio, but it's not doing it. Oh well, I can do it in here. Anyway, so yeah, we are going to have a debate with Right the Hand. I've told him about the format. 10 minutes to present evidence. Then I've got 10 minutes to present evidence, and then 10 minutes to rebut my evidence. You know, it's a strict standard format, and Right the Hand's been informed about that. And we're going to let him start with evidence that he's got that's positive evidence of the Earth being flat. Now, I know he has a lot of issues with the word evidence, but frankly, I don't really care because that's more of a him problem than a me problem. So, right, what should we call you, Right the Hand?
I mean, right, the hand's fine.
Cool. I'll call
Right,
you
you
idiot.
call me right if you want.
I'll call you left or wrong. That'll do. More normal. I'll call you left.
Well, yeah, you reversed everything anyway, so why not?
Yeah. So we're going to start with you having 10 minutes to present evidence. Team is here to help keep everything on track. That 10 minutes of presenting evidence will be uninterrupted. So you're clear to say whatever you want. Don't be hateful or try to get my channel taken off because I'll just boot you. So over to you. Give us 10 minutes evidence, Wrong the Foot, of why the Earth is flat.
All right, well, when we're talking, this is the conversation that Craig doesn't want to have is evidence. What is evidence? So when you talk evidence, it's a courtroom term. So in the courtroom, you would have physical evidence, like a bloody knife or, the bat that killed somebody. Then you can also have circumstantial evidence, right, which is like an eyewitness testimony or something along those lines. So evidence comes in many different degrees. Now, I believe the highest standard of evidence is an observation in reality. Now, when you make this observation in reality, that's the highest standard of evidence. Now, if Craig, we'll get to it later, but if he wants to agree to that, then, that's fine. Like MC Toon agreed to an observation in reality being the highest standard of evidence that he can think of. So now Craig will admit that through this highest standard of evidence, the observation by the person, which, if he wants to say a higher one, feel free. But through this, what we observe as the highest standard of evidence, we observe a mostly flat plane, right? So that's now he will admit this and he will say, well, yes, I too see the evidence of a flat plane, but then he'll add a but, and he goes, but that's because the Earth is such a big ball. Now, when he says because the Earth is such a big ball, that's not any actual evidence. He didn't present anything. He's commenting on what the evidence is. Now, and this is why this is very important to discuss what evidence is. Now, the evidence is the Earth appearing flat. That is the evidence. Okay, now if we were in a court, right, that's what would be presented, the Earth being flat. Now, the defendant, Craig, would be like, yes, I admit the Earth does appear flat, but it only appears that way because I believe the Earth is such a big ball. Now, that is not evidence. That's a belief. That's his own personal opinion on the evidence that has been provided, that the evidence is the observation of the Earth as a flat plane oriented as such. Now, the only thing he'll be able to do is tell you what he believes. He's like, I believe the Earth is a ball, and I believe that that ball is so big, and that's why it looks flat. So his entire argument of why the Earth is a ball is because it looks flat. And that flatness is because the Earth is such a big ball. Now, that in a courtroom would be ridiculous. Now, we could keep going. I'm sure I still got time. That was only like 5 minutes.
Yeah, you've had 4 minutes, and you know.
What's that?
You've had 4 minutes, just so you know.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, 4 minutes. Okay. So now the next thing he'll do is, if we're in a court of law, we would see the sun moving. Right now, the sun is moving. Now, that's the evidence. The evidence is when all of us are standing still, we can see the sun move. That's the evidence. Now, he will tell you he believes the sun moves because it's the Earth spinning. That's not the evidence. That's his personal beliefs, right? He believes sun movement equals Earth movement, right? That's how Craig turns what he sees, which is the sun moving on a flat plane, a mostly flat stationary plane, into a spinning ball, right? Now, we can prove all of these things empirically with my evidence, which is that level is a horizontal plane. Now, we make this horizontal plane with a water level. Now, Craig's going to run into a problem when he says that, well, water curves. Now, I could almost agree with you if you can demonstrate water curving against a horizontal. Now, you can't say something is curving if you don't have the flat, straight horizontal to compare it to. So Craig will say that water curves, but we're using water to establish the horizontal in which we use to define the curve against. So Craig doesn't want to talk about what evidence is so that he can turn a moving sun into a moving Earth. And even when he does talk about evidence, he's going to have to say that a straight line curves, and that he proved the Earth is a ball because he operated a diesel submarine and it used X amount of diesel fluid, even though diesels can't operate under the water. So, Craig, yeah, I mean, I guess you can respond to the rest of that with I didn't present any evidence, and tell me the format again, and then you can show your Bible. There's his Bible. He just showed us a Bible. Very good, Craig. Christians have their book, and your religious people have your book. So
you've
yeah,
you've still got another 2 minutes if you'd like to present any evidence.
I did present evidence.
Hello?
Okay, I
Yes,
must
I
have
said
missed
level.
that. I must
Yeah,
have missed that.
I did.
Sorry. Obviously, wonderful. I mean, I'm going to have a hard time debunking that when it's my turn to show, to debunk the evidence
Diesel
there.
working underwater.
Apparently, there wasn't any
No.
diesel submarines team.
Jesus Christ.
Diesels can't work underwater,
Yeah.
guys.
Yeah, internal combustion engines run very well underwater. Yeah, because they need air to go in. But yeah, I'm sure they have like you run compressors.
How did they power the submarines before nuclear power?
Okay, Craig, man. Yeah, hey, diesel, go work your diesel
really
underwater, bro. But that you're not addressing level as horizontal. You're not addressing standard of evidence.
Make a good point.
And you didn't address any of my claims. So I mean, if this is where you want to go, I mean, fine, that's okay. I mean, everybody sees it. They see that you didn't address anything I just said.
If engines can't work underwater, then people can't breathe underwater, right? So anybody that's been on a submarine,
bro, that's okay. I'm just saying.
The simple fact of that.
How much
no. You made a good point, right? Hold on. No, you said diesel engines can't fucking work underwater. Well, people can't breathe underwater either. So I guess because they go down in submarines, it must all be a lie because people would just die from drowning, right?
Yeah, probably. If that's your proof the Earth is a ball, okay, go with that. That works for me.
You're fucking stupid.
Oh, yes, he is.
Yeah, very good argument. Very good. Call me stupid. That's a very good argument. Very articulate. You're very smart. You should take an IQ test. I bet you'll get double digits.
Hold on. If you think that me calling you stupid is the answer to your argument, you're sorely mistaken. I'm making an objective observation here.
You're making an
objective observation is you're an objectively stupid.
Oh. How can you observe stupidity?
Diesel engines don't work underwater.
Oh, we just listened to you.
You still haven't addressed the claim. I'm waiting for you to address anything that I said instead of just calling me
Are you saying why can't tell me something? Why can't internal combustion work
underwater?
That was
just okay. Look, we're talking about level being horizontal. Why can't it work? You're going away from the Earth.
No.
Do you not want to talk about level being horizontal?
No, you said I'm
okay. You don't. So you don't want to talk about my evidence that the Earth is flat. I understand. I wouldn't want to. If somebody came in and could prove everything I believe to be wrong, I wouldn't want to talk about it either.
Listen, I don't give a shit right now about the shape of the Earth doesn't mean shit to me right now. What I'm saying is you just said a dumbass comment, and then you tried to double down on your dumbass comment by saying internal combustion doesn't work. Okay. No, and you said internal combustion doesn't work underwater. Right. Why?
Okay.
Explain that. Explain that.
Okay, so you
don't have an explanation? Is that what you're saying? You don't have an explanation. Is that what you're saying?
I said level is horizontal.
You brought up fucking diesel combustion engines not firing underwater. I'd like you to please explain how smart you are.
And the Earth has
I'll let Fight take that one. Fight can take that one. Let's start with the fucking simple shit, okay? Like you said diesel, you brought up, no, I'll let Fight. No, Fight can take that. I'm trying to. Okay, so you're just basically.
That has nothing to do with Earth. I understand.
Fight. Hey, hold on. Hey, right the hand. Answer me this question. Did you say that diesel engines don't work underwater?
Level is horizontal? Yes, I did say level is horizontal.
Did you say diesel engines don't work underwater?
Do you want to address level is horizontal?
He doesn't even understand basic English. Why do we have this guy on? Why do we have this guy on? He doesn't understand even basic fucking English.
Right hand, you're muted now, so I'm going to present my evidence. Which you have to refute. And my evidence is going to start with the old classic, the wonderful evidence from our good friend Bob.
If the Earth is spinning at one rotation every 24 hours, that means that every hour it has to turn 15 degrees. And if the gyroscope is mounted anywhere on Earth, it's going to drift. In today's 21st century navigation systems, they're using what's called a ring laser gyroscope. It is extremely precise. If we could simply get one of these ring laser gyroscopes, we would be able to prove once and for all that there is no rotation to the Earth. One of the people in the community actually purchased one for $20,000. But what we found is when we turned on that gyroscope, we found that we were picking up a drift, a 15-degree-per-hour drift.
So,
if the Earth is spinning at one...
Shush, Bob, you can stop now. So we absolutely do see the sun moving in the sky, but the hypothesis from that I can gather based on other evidence is that it's not the sun that's actually moving, because many things don't make sense with that. So experiments were done to test if we were moving, and when all the testing is done, it does appear that it's the Earth that is rotating. Every interferometric fiber optic gyroscope in the world picks up a 15-degree rotation in 3 axes and a 1 degree a day drift around the center of our solar system, the sun. So there is no evidence that it is the sun that is moving. There is evidence that we are rotating, evidence that his back is rotating. That is what evidence is. A courtroom would ask you to expand on the evidence that you have presented and explain why it is evidence for your case, as I have just done. The Earth is rotating. The evidence is it has been measured several times. If you go to mctoon.net/spin, there is a list of many experiments showing the rotation of the Earth. Second evidence that I'm going to present is another classic from another good friend of ours, and his name's Jeranism. Oh, and that's muted.
Interesting. You're seeing through this hole, through the next hole, and seeing the light at the backboard, or at 17 feet off the water. The Earth is flat. If he's holding it up at 23 feet high and we're seeing the light, well, that's because the Earth's curved. So I should only be able to see it when it's at 17 feet. Okay, go ahead and drive down there, Enrique. You're going to hold the light there. Enrique, how high is your light?
17 feet.
I mean, it's his, we don't see you, Enrique. Lift up your light way above your head. Interesting. Interesting.
Funny that even a flat earther saw that there's some curve. But of course, there's many other examples of curve. And one that I like to show is one that actually flat earthers have used quite a lot. And that was the good old dog cam flight. Now, the interesting thing about the dog cam flight was that it contained two cameras. One had a wide angle lens for the view, and one was a camera that did not have any lens distortion. And you can tell when there's lens distortion because as the what you're looking at passes the center line, you would have it go convex and concave. It would change. However, when you look at the two cameras that are on the dog cam, the one on the right does indeed appear to go convex and concave. This is a wide angle fisheye lens for the view. And yeah, at times the Earth looks concave, at times it looks flat, at times it looks convex because of the lens distortion. Look at the thing holding out that thing in front of it. You can see that that is clearly warped, showing that there is lens distortion. Okay. However, if you show the other camera, which did not have lens distortion, and they've handily compressed it on the right there to exacerbate the curve, no matter how many times it passes the center point, the horizon goes up and down, it always stays the way that we expect it to. It's always convex, not concave or flat. No matter how many times it passes the center point, that curve remains, because this is an accurate representation. We're using a camera that does not have a lens distortion. The Earth is not flat. My evidence is measurements of the rotation, showing that it is not other things in the sky are moving, it is us that is rotating, and the fact that the curve has been measured. You can check out a bunch of measurements at mctoon.net/r. One I like to use is the transcontinental triangulation of the American arc of the parallel, and the fact that we can quite easily observe the curve using the correct equipment. The calculated horizon exactly as it's supposed to be. The Earth is not flat. Right, I'm going to unmute Right the Hand. So what happens now, Right the Hand, is you get the opportunity to debunk the evidence that I have just presented.
Oh, well, that's going to be easy because you presented videos. So now what you make fun of, I'm not a flat earther. Now you like to make fun of flat earthers by going, it looks flat, therefore it's flat. And you go, you can't look at it being flat. You have to take measurements. But all you just did was look at it. You just looked at it and said, well, it looks curved through the lens of the dog cam, so I think it's curved.
I also cited measurements that you can go and check.
Okay. So the cited measurement, right? Would you agree that in order to say that something is curved, you have to compare it against something that is straight?
Or you can just measure it and see what the data points give you.
Well, okay, how do you measure if something is curved without knowing what is straight?
Do you know how geodetic surveyors work? Because that's what you're debunking here, is the fact that it's been measured by geodetic surveyors.
Well, are you a geodetic surveyor?
No, but I've spoken to many. In fact, I
Oh,
speak
okay.
I
So
speak
you
to
haven't
one
measured it.
every
So
day.
you believe something you were told, right?
No, I don't need
Is
to
that-
believe anything.
you're not a
I've
surveyor.
seen physical measurements of it.
What have you've seen? What have you seen?
I've seen Jesse Kowalski's website that shows the physical measurements that he made.
Oh, so you saw a web. So you didn't see the real world. You saw a website.
No, I don't happen to have any geodetic surveying equipment, so
Okay,
I'm not a geodetic
so then
surveyor.
you're just asserting something that. So you're asserting what geodetic surveyors do when you're not one. You're just parroting.
I've been told by geodetic surveyors how it works.
Okay.
So I'm still waiting for you to debunk my evidence. I don't believe anything.
Okay,
I
yeah,
go
well,
with facts.
Now the thing is, you're saying it's curved. Now the whole thing is, before you can say something
No,
is
I didn't
curved,
say
you
anything.
have
I
to
showed
establish
evidence.
a horizontal. Okay. Yeah. Now, can we establish a horizontal?
Many
as
times,
humans,
yes.
can we do that?
I'm still waiting
Okay,
for you to
now, would we
debunk that
use-
evidence that,
Okay, yeah,
that I brought up.
So would we use a water level? We would use a water level to.
Yeah, I didn't
establish
talk about a
horizontal.
water level. I'm waiting for you to debunk the evidence that I
okay,
brought up.
but I am, and this is.
No,
debunking
no,
your
but that's not how this
argument.
works. Right hand, that's not how this works. This point is for you to debunk the evidence that I brought up,
Yeah, I
not
am.
talk about things
I
that
am.
I didn't. I didn't mention a
Yeah,
water level, therefore you do not talk about
Yeah.
water levels.
You mentioned Earth curve. You mentioned the Earth is curved. Now I'm saying we can't know if the Earth is curved unless we compare it to a horizontal, right?
No, we've measured it and seen it's curved. Please go
Okay,
and...
but how would- okay,
no,
but
no,
you
no,
can't-
no, don't
okay.
straw man. I
How
didn't
do you
mention
know
any of
something-
that.
okay,
You
fine,
need to
I got you.
refute the
How do you know
measurements.
something is curved if you don't compare it against something that is horizontal?
You measure it.
Okay, so but what do you?
That's
you're
one of the
measuring,
dumbest
when you
things I've
say
ever heard
measure
a
it,
flat
how do you
Oh, I'm not
measure it?
surprised. This guy's thick as shit.
Okay, hold on. You said so when you showed me a video of Bob. Is that a measurement of the curve?
No, in case you were not
Okay,
paying
okay,
attention,
so
it
then what
was
your
a measurement
the
of
curve? 'Cause
rotation.
I must have missed it. What?
I told you the transcontinental triangulation of the American arc of the parallel.
No, the what? Say that slower.
The
in
I'm sorry that big words confuse you so much. The transcontinental
Yes, you gotta explain it to
triangulation
him like
of
he's
the
5.
American arc of the parallel.
Okay, so the American arc of the parallel. What is that? Is that stars?
Do you know what a parallel is?
You
Two lines that don't.
fucking
Two horizontal
stupid.
lines that don't touch. Would you agree?
So, do you think geodetic surveyors measure using
Would you,
the
hold on,
stars?
would you agree that a parallel is two horizontal lines that don't touch?
No.
Okay, so then what is a parallel? So
Okay.
parallel lines touch. Is that what you're telling me?
All right. When we're talking about the Earth, do you know what a parallel is?
No, we're not talking
Okay,
about the Earth.
first off,
because
Yes,
a
we are.
parallel. Hold on.
Geometry
A
term.
parallel. Listen, a parallel is a noun. Parallel
Okay,
is
we're
an,
getting
an
talking
adjective.
geometry,
Okay.
right? We're talking lines. Are you talking?
No, we're talking now
geometric
basic
lines
fucking
and
English. No, we're
geometric,
talking
like
basic
parallel
fucking
lines,
English.
right?
You don't say something
You said
is
the parallel.
a
You
happy,
brought this phrase
you know,
up. Now,
or
we-
a
Yes.
red.
We have to talk about.
I didn't-
You're
parallel
fucking
is.
stupid.
If you're saying,
Right.
if you're going to say that parallel is an X, we're not on the same page. So
It's not my
parallel
fault that you
lines,
don't understand English. The American arc of the parallel is talking about a specific position on Earth.
Okay, so your proof that the Earth is a ball is a specific position on Earth.
No, it's the measurement of that specific position
Okay, how do you measure a specific position on Earth?
using geodetic surveying methods.
Okay, so somebody is standing in a spot on Earth. How do you measure where they're standing?
Using geodetic surveying methods.
Okay, how would they do that? How would they do that?
You-
You're not a geodetic surveyor, so you said that. So how would you know how they do that?
They measure.
Okay, are we really going to go down this? Are we really
but
going to
he's
go
just-
down
all
this
he's
line
doing
where
is
he's
saying
not
they
a
measure it,
geodetic
but when I
surveyor?
say, how do
Okay,
you do
so
that,
what's
he
your
doesn't
proof
know.
of? Okay, so what's your evidence that the Earth is flat? Are you going to say, "Oh, I went out and looked at it"?
Okay,
Oh, are you
my
okay?
evidence
Are
is
you a
flat is that
physicist and
level
are
is
you a
horizontal.
physicist that's fucking
Water
like
establishes a
extremely
horizontal.
extremely experienced
Now,
in
once you-
dealing with
hang on, let me
electromagnetic
get this
waves?
out. Let me-
Are you an
So once
optometrist
you've-
that can properly explain how the eye collects the photon? Are you a neurologist that can tell us how the brain reduces it from the eye to the brain to an image that you can understand? Are you prepared to explain all that? No? Well, then why the fuck are you using it as evidence there? Yeah, shut the fuck up. You don't know what the fuck you're talking
so
about.
let me
You're fucking
clarify.
stupid.
I'm using
Left the
horizontal.
foot. Let me clarify. Your refutation of me citing measurements is that you don't understand geodetic surveying.
No,
Is
you
that
didn't.
correct?
No, okay, but you're not a geodetic surveyor.
No, I don't need to
So
be.
you're saying they measure it, but I
Yes.
asked you how they measure it, and you can't tell me. You
Using
just said they
geodetic
do.
surveying methods.
But you're not a. What does that mean? Tell me what they do to measure.
Do you know what a theodolite is? Do you know what a theodolite is? Do you know what a theodolite is? Do you know what a theodolite is?
Yes, it's a scope with a level on it.
Okay, and what do you think you could do with multiple theodolites?